and welcome to episode 2 of our podcast, HFP T.Vcast, Mortal Kombat Conquest. Yeah, this is episode 2 for us.
Episode 3 of the show officially.
We're going to go through critiquing each one at a time. The first 2 were a double bill, but they counted them as episode 1 and 2, so we're here with episode 3. And I'm Sam McKinstry, you're Tom Hinksman, we're Happy Things Productions, we make films and we watch shit and da-da-da-da-da, and that's our intro, which is terrible. Apologies for that. So, this week, the episode is called Cold Reality, but something happened on the version I watched.
Okay.
Instead of saying Cold Reality, it came up as Scorpion versus Sub-Zero.
That's not what the thing was.
That's not what it was. I was so fucking hyped. If you know any Mortal Kombat, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are like the eternal enemies, and there's this whole double cross where like one of them, their family died and they blame the other, but it's all manipulated by other people and shit, and it's fucking great, and I was all ready for it, and we had Scorpion in the last episode. We should do a recap of the last episode.
So the last episode
of Mortal Kombat Conquest
was double bill. We had the beginning with Kung Lao has a fight.
Kung Lao is a classic martial artist. He's defended Earthrealm. He's fallen in love. His girlfriend got killed by Scorpion, who was a guard for the love of his life's dad, and she gave him a key. It's very important. Yeah, huge key.
Yeah,
unlike any other key.
The key that is now his heart, apparently.
Yes, the key to his heart or the key that is his heart. It all got mixed up, didn't it? And he has 2 allies: a thief named Taja. And Zero. Yes.
Who I was wrong about last week.
I was about to say, you made a prediction.
I predicted that he would be Sub-Zero because Zero. Can't make sense. He's also blonde hair, blue eyes. Makes sense. Apparently not.
This week will reveal that you were wrong.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You're allowed to be wrong. It regularly happens. Yeah. So, sorry, that was a bit icky. That was a bit nasty.
Also, Zero's not a real character. Like, it would make sense. Like, why would you not? But apparently, now they're like, we'll make a character. Yeah. It's fine. We'll get a guy who can't act to do it because he can do martial arts. Fuck it.
It was right. So what we'll do, now we've recapped, we'll talk about this episode, but we'll start with, did you enjoy the episode or not? With no spoilers, just a little brief of where people can expect us to go. Then we'll recap the episode as best we can remember. I've made notes of quotes and 2 things that stood out to me. And then we'll see what we want to say at the end, if anything else. And then we're done. So, what did you think of this week's episode 3, Cold Reality?
It was fine. It had all the same sort of stuff from last time. I don't think the music was as bad.
They didn't put in as much, did it? It wasn't as hype.
You did have little bits where they hyped up the music and then dropped it.
They now made... Did you notice Shang Tsung now has the motif? Every time it goes to that cobalt mine where Shang Tsung... Shang Tsung's an evil sorcerer who lost against Kung Lao in episode 1. If you're just joining us, why would you join us here? Go back and listen to the first episode. Or as much of it as you can. He has a really hype tune with a little beat in it that always plays. Look out for it on the next episode. It always plays when they're at the cobalt mines, and it ramps up just after he does whatever baddie guy line he's going to do, and he's doing his smouldering left. The music wasn't as prevalent as what you're going for.
The camera wasn't quite so bizarre.
For most bits I would agree with you. There's one particular section where I felt the camera went everywhere. But we'll get to that.
Overall, it's time flew by whilst I was watching it. I don't know if that's because I watch it in parts, so obviously you get through 10 minutes and then it's done. It was alright.
Okay. So we'll begin the episode. Shall I start the recap or do you want to?
We'll go back and forth. You can start.
Okay. The episode starts and I'm instantly confused thinking, am I watching the first episode again?
Yeah,
because it starts...
They did the exact same intro.
Well, it started with a previously on Mortal Kombat, told by Raiden, who's one of 2 Raiden cameos. He did the voiceover, I believe, of the previously on Mortal Kombat Conquest. And then it instantly started with the same voiceover. He is a warrior, he's fighting, da-da-da-da. And a guy fighting. A young, muscular... like army style short haircut. But he wasn't fighting a guy in a red mask and there weren't all weird freaks in weird costumes around. So pretty quickly I realised this is different. But he wasn't actually fighting to the death of any tournament. He's just fighting. And all the other guys are dressed in the same black robes he is. Or did he have the loincloth on at this point? Because it came on later.
No, had it, I think he was shirtless at this point.
Okay.
The other guys have got like... They basically dress like Scorpion, but grey.
Yeah.
They're the grey Power Ranger dummy guys.
It's the Mortal Kombat Ninja uniform. It's iconic if you've seen Mortal Kombat, but it was grey. The first guy I thought, because there's loads of ninjas, there's like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, then they brought in like Rain and Smoke and Reptile, who was in the first game actually as a secret character and shit. So I was like, oh, maybe they're doing different colour ninjas. But it was all just grey.
Yeah.
But here's this fight, which isn't really a fight, but a training exercise.
Yeah.
And then you see a guy in a very weird, it's like a red version of the ninja suit, but it didn't fit properly, and it was clearly like a one stuffed suit designed like with fake muscles to make him look bigger, but it was wonky.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was very comedy. It's fucking worth going back and like, oh, fucking look this up because it was pretty good.
It was like a One Piece robe version.
Yeah. And this guy is like slightly stood up watching this fight and watching the guy, and he takes some hot coals off a fire that's in front of him, a classic like hanging down basket with flames underneath it, and puts these coals in a bucket. And then this guy who's been fighting kneels down, and then they pour what's meant to be the bucket of hot coals. The hot coals have now turned into white looking rocks onto his back, and there's a really good sizzling sound effect, and he starts screaming in pain. And then there's a bucket of what I think is meant to be ice water, but can't possibly, and has to have some liquid nitrogen in there or something, in front of him, and he's burning back, and he punches the ice, and then he pulls his hands out the ice. This guy is in a lot of pain, and his hands are freezing, like literally covered in ice while his back is burning. And that leads me to my first quote, which was, then this guy stands over and goes, "Fire and ice, the pain of one mirrors the pain of the other." Which in my head I was like, that doesn't know. Like, you can have cold burn and heat burn, but they're fucking different. Yeah. Like, you would, he's on fire, fucking throw him in give him a cold burn, he'll cool him down. I'm pretty sure, like, the thing they say about horrible burns is don't put water on them because your body will just go in terrible, terrible shock.
But you could put cold water on them, but you wouldn't put ice water on them.
No, and it depends on the burn, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't there, like...
I think, like... really minor burns.
Yeah.
You're meant to run under cold water because it'll stop it from blistering. But if you're at the blistering phase,
nothing.
Then I don't think cream, maybe.
I think if it's like, I don't know, and this is worrying because we do sometimes have fire on our films, but it's like if you're really burnt up, I think you're not meant to put water on the person. Yeah. I think you're meant to leave them.
Maybe you can send them into shock.
Yeah.
If you do.
I think that's it. So that fight happens.
Yeah.
And this guy gets tortured. And it's the one pain mirrors the pain of the other, apparently. Yeah. And then done. We just leave that's there, and we go to Kung Lao.
Yeah, we're with Kung Lao, Taja, and Zero.
Yeah.
And they walk onto screen in this nice scenic bit.
Yeah.
And Kung Lao's like, "Oh, this is a good place to camp."
Yeah.
And then they sit down.
Yeah.
And they have a conversation.
They do, and it's about nothing. This is where I got worried at this point, because the combo, it's not important. Like, there was no good quotes, there was no story development, no character, nothing.
Basically, the gist of the conversation is, "Oh, well, it's fine, Kung Lao, at least you know what you're doing." Well, not exactly. Like, I told her what I meant to do, but I don't know how to do it. Ah, okay. And then they get up and fucking walk off. They don't even set up camp. Yeah. It's like, this is a good place to camp. They fucking walk off.
But we're not going to. Yeah.
And then it goes to night, and you're in a town.
Yeah.
And they have like loads of sort of establishing party.
Yeah, it's like a town with a huge wall around it, and
doesn't really do anything for it. There's one, like, I don't know if you spy them. There's like, I think they're meant to be prostitutes or something. They're like dragging men about and stuff. Yes. But there's like one girl that sort of turns and clearly has no idea what she's meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And she just kind of stands there
awkwardly,
and they fucking leave it in. And it's like, she clearly has no idea what she's meant to be doing in the shot. I'm pretty sure she looks at the camera.
I thought she did. Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. And then Kung Lao pulls out the key. They find like a building, and he pulls out the key, and this key is like no other key you will see in your life. It's like, first of all, it like is about the size of the palm of your hand at least.
I'd say the entire key's probably as long as your hand.
Yeah.
Like, the actual key part is probably the palm of your hand. Yeah. But then it's got the bit on the end as well.
Yeah. It's fucking huge. And he pulls it out, And Tasha goes, is that the key she gave you? Like, no, I just walk around with this big weird fucking key, and I have another key, and I just happen to play this one. Like, I didn't know, it was just bad dialogue. Well, I tell you one thing, like, I noticed in this episode, Ciro's accent as well was notably worse than the first two. Yeah. Like, I don't know if he just didn't want to try as much, or they told him to be more foreign.
It seemed like less of the dialogue seemed ADR'd.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, like, the first one, when he was, like, doing the sound recording and stuff, like, they've told him do this, and then in the second one, like, he's just done his normal fucking voice.
Yeah, maybe, but his accent was noticeably. Like, he stumbled on a lot more words and just had much more of a twang, which he didn't say much, to be honest. It didn't really matter. So they go in the building.
Well, they stand outside the building.
Yeah.
And they've got the key, and they're right fucking next to the building. And Ciro's like, "Come on, we should probably go get some supplies." It's like, yeah, Tasha, you open the building, because we can't go check what's in the building first. You might have loads of fucking food there waiting for you.
Yeah.
We definitely need supplies. And they go off to buy supplies. She goes in the building.
Yes. I need to skip back in time. We've missed an important bit. You know the ninja fight where the guy's being tortured by ice and fire? It doesn't just end. It ends with writing appearing on the wall. And then the head guy in ill-fitting uniform turns to the wall and goes, Shang Tsung, and looks scared.
Yeah.
Like, he did feel his eye. You can only see the guy's eyes, but that guy's eyes, I can say that sentence, widen. Like, this is abject fear, which will come in later as well. So now we go back. She goes in alone.
Yeah. Because they both have to get supplies that they may or may not need. They have no idea.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure because I couldn't be asked to go back and watch. Could you see the guy in the background?
Yes, they do it on purpose.
Yeah. No, I know that it was. I saw like the corner of my eye, something went up the screen. I was like, I think they showed you.
Yeah.
But one of the silver ninjas that looks like Sub-Zero and Scorpion's classic uniform, but it's. Are we calling it grey or silver? Grey ninja. If I say silver, just correct me every time because I don't. We've got to agree on colours. It's important for the credibility of the podcast.
Yeah.
So
the gold ninja.
Yeah. So the turquoise ninja, like he's like on the ceiling in that classic like what shows where like the hero's being chased and they go around the corner and then the people chasing them go around the corner and they don't see him and they never look up.
Yeah.
That's what happens here.
Yeah.
And this ninja's like his arms and legs are all outstretched in horrible positions so that he's on the wall.
Yeah.
And he drops down. And he beats her up.
She does not get
hit him, which again, she was the Terminator in Terminator 3, so I have no problem with watching her get beaten up, and I just imagine the Terminator X every fucking time that she takes a hit. But he just, like, it's not even a long fight, it's like 3-4 kicks and she's down.
Yeah.
And she's on the floor, and then he goes for a killer punch, which, like, is a huge fist raised.
Yeah.
I have a problem with this delayed killing technique, but that will come in the reason why in a minute.
Yeah.
So he's like taking his time, and then he looks up, and the door bursts open, and Ciro
and Kung Lao step in without any supplies that I could see.
Yeah,
they didn't have anything with them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And they open the door open quite violently, but we're talking as if they hadn't noticed, as if they were just walking home. So it's like they must just kick the door open violently as they go in. Little things, and then they notice a ninja, and they don't like the sight of a ninja, so they start fighting the ninja. And did one of them throw a pot at the ninja?
She throws a pot at the ninja.
She threw a pot at him.
Around,
yeah, which seemed useless.
Yeah,
I think. Oh no, right. She threw 2 pots at him, right, and he was like doing the twirly dancing like he's going to avoid it, but the first one hit him. I don't think it was meant to hit him. I think they just didn't do another take.
They just kind of punched it.
And the second one like missed, and then he beat her up. They run in, they beat up this ninja, they win.
Yeah.
3-on-1, this ninja's fucked.
Right, it's 2-on-1 because she's still on the floor doing fuck.
Right, 2-on-1.
Yeah.
He might be a little tired from all the punching and the kicking. And they grab the ninja, and they want to find out who he is and why he is, and they're holding him the classic like by the scruff of his neck type thing.
Tell us what you know.
And this ninja definitely grabs his own head
and snaps his own
neck quietly. There wasn't even a snapping sound effect. It was just
a slight but not much of one at all.
So if he can instantly snap a neck, why is he winding up for a super kill punch on Tarja?
And if he can instantly snap his own neck, he can definitely snap her neck. Because I'm pretty sure at that angle, it's a lot harder to snap your own neck than it would be like with full leverage on someone else.
Yeah, I'll go with you. I'll absolutely go with you that. And I actually really like this little section because Tasia got beaten up.
Yeah.
Zero and Kung Lao get to have a little bit of a fight, and I got to see a Mortal Kombat uniform from the actual Mortal Kombat uniform. So I was alright with this. And then Kung Lao goes off and has a flashback of his missus.
Yeah.
And saying, I still miss you and I love you. And it doesn't really go anywhere. But then they go to... Do we go to Shang Tsung at this point? I believe we do.
I think pretty much the only moment for Shang Tsung is at this point.
Right. This bit made me uncomfortable. So, Shang Tsung, who is awesome. I fucking love the Shang Tsung actor. I'm going to have to look up his name for the next episode because he is really, really good. Is like sat cross-legged, making shapes in smoke.
Yeah.
And Vulpix, who is this very voluptuous, attractive female in this green dress, who's like his lieutenant, if you just... she walks up to him and basically is like, what are you doing? And he's like, communicating.
Yeah, right messages.
Right messages. And she's like, whoa, sorcery, give up. Pulls him away. And they start talking about the Lin Kuei, which is the ninja group. That's the Lin Kuei, which is Sub-Zero's clan in Mortal Kombat and da-da-da-da. And she's like questioning about the Lin Kuei, and he's like saying, well, no, I'm in the Lin Kuei, I'd be unstoppable. So we're ignoring the wall filled with fighters that we were told about in the last episode. He's picking Earth Realm fighters.
Yeah.
Fine. And she basically goes, why are you bothering with that? Fuck me. And he like... At first he seems to be like, no, like, the most important thing in the world is Kung Lao, I have to destroy him. But then he changes his mind. Yeah. And as soon as he changes his mind, Vulpix or whatever, Vulpix is a Pokemon, I'm pretty sure, she freaks out. Like, she wide-eyes as wide as the head ninja did earlier when Shang Tsung was knocked back. And she backs away. And Shang Tsung says to her, perhaps you can amuse me, although your seduction may not go as you planned. Yeah. I was like... pretty sure this is rape.
Yeah, and then he walks on topless.
He walks towards her, who is backing away towards a wall, topless. And we leave.
Yeah.
But it kind of lasted long, because when we go back to the ninja clan, unless I'm missing a Kung Lao moment that wasn't important.
I think there's like a brief Kung Lao moment where you have like Zero and Tasia talking about fuck all.
Yeah,
and Kung Lao's doing something upstairs.
They had a lot of combos that I think were meant to establish, they're not really functioning as a group yet.
Yeah.
But they just didn't do it. It wasn't like, everyone's just saying one thing that isn't really, it doesn't drive plot or give character, it's just fuck.
And then not only that, but all the conversations, like every single time, none of them had any anchorage. They all just like rush to rush.
Yeah.
You just had just that person in frame.
Anchorage
not
being
perfectly set up to each other.
Just to explain anchorage, because we might use filmy terms. Anchorage is when you do shots that reveal where a character is in a situation. So it might be a wide shot and you show them they're above this character or they're to the right or left of this character. Yeah.
It's pretty much the reason for, like, if you get an over the shoulder shot in a film, the reason is that you know that the other person is there and it feels natural.
One of the reasons. There might be many, but that's we go to the ninja thing, right? And I want to take you through my thought process as this next scene unfolds. So you're right if I take this bit. The ninja, the head ninja and another ninja are talking, and the head ninja basically says, if he's not back yet, he's gone. He's failed. And he's like, send 3 next time. And in my head I'm thinking, well, if you're going to send 3, why did you only send... Right? And instantly, a fucking portal opens up, and like this ninja guy is like pulled through the portal. Like there's literally whoa, and he is just instantly in front of a shouting Shang Tsung, who just tells him, "Why did you only send 1?" And I'm like, "Thank you." That's exactly what I was thinking. And the guy's like, "Oh, he was a professional. I thought he'd be good enough." Oh. And Shang Tsung's like, "I expect Kung Lao dead," and throws him away and throws him back through the portal, basically. Which leads me, like, this will come out later, but can Shang Tsung travel to Earthrealm?
I think Shang Tsung can send other people to and back Earthrealm. I don't think he can go himself.
But can he send anyone? Because that ninja guard couldn't have wanted to go. But why doesn't he just grab Zero or Kung Lao or someone and just pull them in? You know, I'm not clear on this. The rules, the physical rules of this world are becoming confusing, more and more confusing by the day. So the ninja guy decides to send 3. Yeah. And then we get my favourite scene Kung Lao and Raiden.
Yeah.
Would you like to take this?
Which bit are we?
Right. It's after the ninja, and Kung Lao basically walks, and he's looking for Raiden. And he can't find him. And he's in like a forest or some woods. And he's like shouting Raiden, and Raiden doesn't appear.
Is this the bit where we basically just go to a fighting montage?
No. Okay, I'll take this. This is Kung Lao like is wandering through woods looking for Raiden. He's calling Raiden's name. Raiden's not appearing. He's like, damn Thunder God. And he turns around, and Raiden's in the distance, and is like, I can't be there all the time, you know. He does a quote. Raiden like appears, and Kung Lao's like, where have you been? And Raiden's just like, living my life. What about you? And he's just casual, doesn't give a fuck again, like guy, right? And Kung Lao is angry, and I really enjoyed this like thing. And Kung Lao's like, a ninja attacked Tarja, and Raiden, but this is like completely just chilled out. Goes, oh, is she all right? Is she alive? Oh no, she goes, is she dead? And Kung Lao's like, no, but we killed the ninja. And he goes, well, it worked out fine then. And he's like, Raiden just doesn't give a shit. He's like, no, you gotta do this on your own. I can't fight for you. You need to fight fighters and train.
This is another moment where it's clearly lies.
Yeah.
Like, we killed him now. No, he didn't. He killed himself.
Yeah.
Fucking liar.
Yeah.
All the time.
We drove him to suicide.
Constantly changing lines, and what happened?
Well, if you drive someone to kill themselves because they don't want to give you information, is that a win? I don't know.
No, because you didn't get the information. Your goal was get information. His goal was die. He won.
Yeah, I suppose. But technically, like, he wouldn't have killed himself if it wasn't for them. So have they driven him to death, and therefore they have killed him? I don't know.
Nah.
I'm not going to lose any sleep on it. So anyway, so Raiden is the man of I give no fucks.
Yeah.
I fucking love Raiden because of this. And Raiden's just like, oh, it's fine, I can't help you. You got to fight for yourself. Stop it, da da da. And he just goes. He just basically leaves Kung Lao. And Kung Lao then decides to head back. And this is when we get what I assume is the effective
training
montage.
It's basically just him in a temple. I don't know if I couldn't figure out if it was meant to be a flashback or it's him going and training.
Yeah.
But you just go to this montage of just Kung Lao.
Yeah.
Kicking about the air.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was weird and it didn't fit because Kung Lao wasn't in. Like, no. And then the next scene is. Oh, it's the ninja attack, isn't it? Kung Lao, Zero, and Tarja are like at the house, and they're like, the three ninjas are in the house, and then they come home, and then they're looking around, and then Kung Lao grabs like a ceramic pot and throws it at the ceiling, and there was a ninja hiding in the ceiling and hits him in the head, and the ninja drops down, and a second ninja rolls from under a bookshelf, and I think the third ninja comes from behind a table. Yeah. And it's like a 3-on-3 fight.
It's a very quick fight, wasn't it?
This is the one where I was saying the camera angles, like you were saying the shape of the camera. This fight, like, I think it was meant to be well done, but it was kind of shitty. And one of the ninjas one-shot Zero and Tarja and knocks them. Right, Kung Lao isn't there because he's gone for Raiden. It's Zero that comes in. Yeah. They throw the pot, they see the ninja just knocks the two out. And they're both knocked out, and then as they're about to kill them, they hear Kung Lao coming in. He opens the door much more peacefully than the last time. That's when they hide. Then Kung Lao grabs the ceramic pot, throws it at the ceiling, knocks one out, and then Kung Lao basically ends up taking on 3 of them, but then Zero kind of wakes up and helps. Yeah. But Tarja remains down.
Yeah, because Tarja can't fight.
Yeah.
Even though she's proved multiple times she can fight.
In the first episode, she can fight. In this episode, she can take a beating. So, she's learning. Yeah. And then they have this fight, which is just punch, kick, camera angle, camera angle, and it ends with the ninjas running away. And Zero gives chase. He doesn't stop or listen to Kung Lao calling him back. Yeah. He just fucking goes and gives chase. And then that leaves us with 2 story bits. Tarja and Kung Lao searching the house, and Zero chasing after the ninja. Which one do you want to go for?
I can't remember much of the Zero chasing the ninja.
Okay.
So we'll go in the house.
Go in the house.
So they're in the house, and they're like, well, they must be fucking looking for something if they're in. Like, why wouldn't they be? And then they go upstairs because they only check one room.
Yeah.
First room they check, that's the room it's going to be in, clearly.
Yeah.
So they go in one room, and Taj is like, oh, there must be a hidden place, because I'm a thief. That's definitely what fucking happens. There's always fucking hidden place. Search around, she finds a hollow bit in the wall, in like this like bookshelf bit, and she's like, it's definitely behind here. Look for a lever. It's like, it's not, why would there be a lever? She's like, there's always a lever. That's how you open it. And they look, and they just can't find it. It's like, no, let's just pull. It's like, you push, I'll pull.
And they do.
Go for it. Yeah. Fail. She's like, you pull, I'll push. Fail again.
Yeah.
And then they go to walk out the room, and she just randomly hits a globe, and it spins, and then a drawer opens. And it's like, oh, told you there was a secret.
So my great aunt Toby, we did do an interview with her in one video. She had a tiny globe thing, right? It wasn't like a big globe like ours, but it was a globe, and I would spin that globe every time I fucking saw it. And someone bought me a globe, and I span it until I broke it. And people's houses, when I saw a globe when I was younger, I would just spin that fucker. Yeah. Like, spinning a globe isn't out of, it's not like the one book on the bookshelf on this particular where, like, the books, it's fucking, there's a billion one chances. Or who would pull the candlestick in such a way that it will open the drawer mechanism. It's spinning a globe. It's not like,
you might just go around and just be like, oh, I should probably dust this room. Oh, shit, I found the secret.
It was weird. And it made a really stone sound as well. Did you, in Tomb Raider, like the stone wall, as it went down.
And it's just this tiny fucking little drop.
Yeah.
It's just a little drop.
Which I appreciate.
With Barack in it.
I should say I'm really fucking loving this series. Like, I really enjoyed this episode, and I'm not trying to shit on it. I'm loving the dumb bits, if that makes sense. And inside was what?
It was a stone.
A big red pointy stone.
Yeah.
That will come into it later.
Yeah.
And now we're on to Ciro. So Ciro's chasing after these ninjas, and there's this big wall, and it's like a CGI wall, and he's like, it meant to have gone over the wall, but they just sort of show him standing. Yeah. And the two ninjas are running off, and then Ciro, he basically catches up, and he watches them go into this old fucking, it looks like an abandoned cathedral kind of thing, the type of thing that you'd see on Dark Souls, which is okay, but we've been told the Lin Kuei are like super secret and no one knows where they are, etc, etc.
And this building is really
very fucking there. It's very noticeable, and and there's torchlight emanating from it and all sorts. And then we see Ciro outside heading in, and then we see the formation of, I would argue, the most iconic character in all of Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably the most recognizable character. And he's like, I think he'd already done a test. We've missed out one scene. He'd already done some tests that involved them throwing water at him, and he didn't quite freeze the water, but he made it like icy enough that it stopped him. It didn't freeze in place or anything though. And that's when he's called Sub-Zero. And he now gets like so the blue uniform looks Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
It was blue and black, and it's an all-round body piece, but it looked fine. It fitted fine. But his mask, he's got like the head hood thing that the ninjas have. Great. But his mask is fucking huge. Like, it's like a Mad Max crazy villain kind of thing over his mouth, blocking him off.
It's a good 2-3 inches off of his face.
Yeah, it's too big. It's too big. It wasn't Sub-Zero. That was the one down point of this episode. And 2 of the ninjas made it back, so the third one must have just got knocked out and ignored or whatever. And the head guy, still in the ill-fitting uniform, says, "Failure cannot be tolerated in the Lin Kuei, da-da-da. You must be punished." And these 2 guys just stand there taking their punishment. Disciplined ninjas, all that kind of stuff. And Sub-Zero, one hand at each, freezes them both, and then does a double jumping kick, smashing the ice. And then it's shown that Ciro had watched all this, and Ciro does what I think is the smartest thing I've ever seen a hero do in a TV show like this.
Runs the
fuck away. This guy can freeze people and shout at them. I want no fucking part of this.
And then he runs back. Yeah. Goes back to the house. Yeah. That's the bit that I do remember it. And he comes in, and they're like, "Oh, we found this. Right, that doesn't matter right now. There's more ninjas." It's like, "Oh, we already beat the ninjas." And it's like, "Yeah, it'll be fine as long as they don't send that guy." And Sub-Zero's just fucking there.
I think it might have been just him.
Yeah.
As long as they don't send him. And Sub-Zero stood in a doorway looking at them.
Yeah.
And I think this is where there must have been an advert break in the TV show, because it's a very odd cut.
Yeah.
Otherwise. And Sub-Zero is facing the three of them. And Sub-Zero turns out to be a fucking idiot. Can you remember what Sub-Zero does? Take in mind this guy can fire ice. Okay, there's one thing we've left out. When he fires ice, it hurts him. Like, he's not fully up to strength because it's torture and that. So he does fire ice and then hold his ribs. So firing ice is like, it's hurting me as I hurt you. It's a quick victory technique, not something for stamina. What does he do?
I can't remember the very first thing he does, but one of the things he does is Taija grabs another pat, because pats have worked so well for us so far.
Wind back. This is before this. He has the drop on all three of them. Yeah. They are stood next to each other. He puts his hands together to create one ice ball. So either he can create a giant ice ball that will freeze all three, or he's at least going to get one. He freezes a fucking chandelier above the three. Yeah, he doesn't go for any of the three. He freezes a fucking chandelier above them, which then takes so long to drop down, all three of them scatter and go in defensive places. And then Zero yells at them, he can freeze things! As if they hadn't just seen that he could do that. Don't get frozen by it! And then I've forgotten what Zero I think Zero hides behind something to avoid an ice ball. Yeah. And then he fires one at Taija, but Taija grabs a bucket.
He doesn't fire at Taija. She picks up a pat again, because her go-to item is grab a pat and fire at him. Why not? It's worked so far. And Sub-Zero, instead of firing it at her, just fires it at the pat and freezes the pat in her hands.
And then she just throws the pat away.
And then she has a great line where it's like, avoid the ice, it burns. Like you weren't already avoiding the fucking ice.
Yeah. And then it's that she goes down holding her wrists, like her arms, because of the ice. Is that why she went down? Yeah, so the ice had gone from the bucket and caused some sort of burn thing. They then fight, but Sub-Zero is hurt. He's holding his ribs. He's fired 3 or 4 ice balls.
But arguably, I still say he's winning.
He fights better than them, but he's he kicks them and then he holds his ribs. Then he kicks them, then he holds his ribs. Then he kicks them, and then he holds his ribs. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's he's kind of winning, but he can't get the drop on them to freeze them. And he's clearly going this becomes a rumble in the jungle, fucking George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali. I think those three, if they just kept taking the hits and not getting frozen, eventually he'd just be so tired. He'd frozen himself out. Yeah. But then Taija drops the key, the crystal. The crystal. We'll call it a crystal. Yeah. Drops the crystal. Sorry, spoiler. The rock turned out to be an important crystal, and that causes Sub-Zero to look at the crystal, and he's about to go for it, and then Raiden appears.
Yeah, he just appears. Yeah. Just on a building.
Yeah.
Just arms crossed.
Even though he's previously said he's not going to help.
Yeah.
And do you remember I talked about in the film? My highlight of the film is Raiden and the Outworld, a gang of them come to kill Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage. Yeah. And Raiden looks at them and thunder in his eyes, and he goes, Yeah. And fire comes from his fingers and goes, I don't think so. Played by Christopher Lambert. He basically does that. Yeah.
He doesn't have the line, he doesn't do the finger, but he's got the thunder eyes.
And he shakes his head.
Yeah. Right? And then Sub-Zero just fucking runs.
He doesn't run. He looks at Raiden. He looks at the crystal. He looks at Raiden. He looks at the crystal. Yeah. He looks at Raiden. He moves to go. He looks back at the crystal. He goes to go to the crystal, and then he runs. Yeah. He's so. Do I? I'm good. Fuck it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I fucking loved it. Sub-Zero, just an unsure Sub-Zero, looking back and forth, and then he runs. Yeah. Showing that he's clever as well. Yeah. He flips out, but he runs, and then Raiden's Kung Lao's sort of I thought you weren't getting involved, and Raiden basically just goes, I was just visiting, don't care. And then Raiden suddenly starts to care, which, because they made him not care, this instantly made the crystal seem important. He sees the crystal. Oh no, the crystal's gone, but he knew it was there, and he's like, where's this crystal? Or what were they after this crystal? Where is it? And they all look at each other like guilty fucking school
Yeah.
children. And it's like clear Taja has it. And their hands are all behind their back like any of the three. And he just looks at them and they're just
like, give me the crystal now.
Yeah. And he's like, what is it? And he's like, just give it me. I'm ordering you. He goes, no.
Kung Lao does a bit, he goes, you told me to think for myself.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking for myself, you want me to follow orders?
Make up your mind, Raiden. Which, see, they're like, the non sequitur of that is thinking for himself is doing what he's told.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. You know what I mean? But, fucking away from that. So then Raiden reveals that the crystal is a device that was left by a group of beings that could travel between dimensions.
Yeah.
And they left knowledge on Earth. They were peaceful.
They were just peaceful. They just wanted to travel about and learn about other places.
But one of them died on Earth, and their crystal remains.
Yeah.
And he wants it. Which then creates for me the issue of how is Shang Tsung pulling people back and forth. That I don't get that, you know. But anyway, they don't give it Raiden.
No.
And Raiden eventually says, "Fine, but you better look after it."
Yeah.
And leaves.
Yeah.
Just goes. And then it turned out Taja had the crystal.
Taja pulls it out of her pocket, gives it to Kung Lao.
To Kung Lao. Well, Kung Lao holds out his hand while still looking where Raiden was.
Yeah.
And Taja, without looking at Kung Lao, puts it in his hand. And that's it. That's where our heroes end. And we've only got one scene left. And it's Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
So, prior, when the two of the three ninjas that went to kill them and had the weirdly edited cut thing, when they fucked about, they came back and they got frozen for their troubles and shattered into pieces. Sub-Zero stands in failure, and the head guy is like, "Oh, it's not your fault. No one could have seen Raiden coming.
Yeah.
You did well to survive." Da 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 da. And Sub-Zero's like, "I will get them." Da da da. And the head guy's like, "Patience. You have to be patient." And Sub-Zero like is a bit like he gives him a look. This is on the eyes of an insanely big mask, but he gives him a look. And the next thing is Sub-Zero stood very noticeably on top of a statue, looking down at the door where our heroes reside.
Yeah.
And it like close ups on Sub-Zero. I think they put a bit of a breeze effect on it, and the hype fucking music starts.
Yeah.
And then you cut to the end credits. And the end credits now are a montage of fights. They're just kicks and flying kicks and punches and twirls and all this shit to very hype music, which completely ruins any mood set up before. So I went from like, oh, Sub-Zero's a bit scary and angry here, to, yeah, fucking fight, man. And that was it. That was episode 3. Cold reality.
Yeah.
Although it came up as Scorpion versus Sub-Zero on mine, which pissed me off, because I would love that fight. That's the fight of the ages.
Yeah.
So, what did you think? Now with spoilers and shit. Is it spoilers? Yeah. Now that
we already spoiled it at this point.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah. I didn't mind the Sub-Zero fight, even though it was fucking dumb, because you got Raiden's moment. Most of the talky bits felt really awkward and jarry. And the fights weren't shot amazingly, but it was still fun.
Right.
And the music was all over the place, but it was still fun. Like, it's basically Mortal Kombat done by people that do Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it's felt. Like, none of it needs to make sense. What you need to know really is every 5 minutes you're going to get a fight.
Yeah.
It's going to be over the top.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, I get that. So, last week when we watched the double bill, which was an hour and a half's worth, I said how quick it went and it felt. And I felt like maybe the novelty's going to start to wear off and I'm going to start to get tired, and episode 3 might be like, this is when I now have to go with bullshit. Because episode 1 and 2 is like, you have a beginning, middle and end, and then... But that was not the case this week. No. I really enjoyed this episode. Yes, there were talky bits, but they never last very long.
No.
And the vast majority of characters, particularly bad characters, they say everything in 1 or 2 lines that are meant to be threatening or evil or explain the plot without having any fucking explanation. You just have to accept that this crystal can travel into dimensions, or Shang Tsung is evil, or failure is acceptable for Sub-Zero. You like, there's no time for characters in it. That's really fun for me. Like, this is, we watch a lot of shows, and there's a lot of things where it's lots of deep characters and driven, and we've got villains with interesting motivations and stuff. None of that here, and I'm loving it for that. And then it's hype, over the top, 90s kind of forcing soundtracks and weird fights. And the fights are like punch kick, stage martial arts stuff, which is fine. I'm up for that. I'm completely up for that. And the ice effect I thought was actually done really well. The characters aren't important, but they aren't like trying to pretend that they're important at the minute. The best thing in the show is Raiden, followed by Shang Tsung, rapey Shang Tsung, and everything else is a distant. Like, I thought they did a better job with Sub-Zero than Scorpion, but it's Raiden and Shang Tsung, and everything else is a distant, and it's building up. It's
kind of like, you watch it and you go, oh, these guys are being fucking idiots. Oh, he's doing a stupid thing here. I wonder what Raiden's going to think by it. Wait till we find out what Raiden thinks by it. Don't care, mate.
Yeah.
Cool, neither do I then.
But what their roles are, right, is like, you use the Power Rangers analogy, right? And you're right in that Shang Tsung is basically Rita.
Yeah.
He is basically Rita from the original Power Rangers, if you watch that, and every monster or thing he sends is a putty monster that weird guy who looks a bit like Geppetto from Pinocchio has created and sent off. And when they fail, or they're failing, like this episode where he just pulls the guy into his reality and instantly is in his face, holding him by the neck, yelling at him, why the fuck did you only send one person? What is wrong with you? You're an idiot. And because he knows that everyone else is being an idiot, that instantly makes him cooler in my eyes. And Raiden's the guy, like Kung Lao and everyone else are acting all this melodrama and how deep it is. And Taj gets attacked by a ninja, and she could have been killed if the ninja had used his neck break technique and not a slow, I'm going to raise my fist in the air dramatically. But Raiden doesn't care. He's just like, well, did she survive? Yeah. Well,
essentially,
everything worked out then.
With a slightly different name. Raiden's essentially like, I'm the thunder god, bitch.
Yeah. He doesn't...
Like, it don't matter if all you could die. I'd prefer if you didn't. This is what you should do to survive.
Yeah. And instantly, because of, as I said before, because when the crystal's there, he's all like, I really want that crystal, and seems almost angry. I'm like, that crystal's really important. That's really, really important. And I feel its importance, which is good writing in a show that isn't well written.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they have a vision they're following through, and there's things that seem important. I'm actually looking forward to the next episode. I really enjoyed this one. I think it's hard to compare because the other one was a double bill, but I think my enjoyment is increasing week on week. I think now we have an established base from which my characters can go out, and I can see the crazy fights and shit. I can't wait to see what they do next. Who they bring in next.
You never know. Maybe Scorpion versus Sub-Zero next week.
Oh, don't. I don't know if it happens or not. I know it got one season and it got cancelled.
Yeah.
So,
some play monsters.
And I can actually remember the ending because it is a weird ending to the series, but we'll go through that. Or what I think is the ending, but it might not be because I might be misremembering it. So we'll see about that. But yeah, so that's episode 3 of the show and episode 2 of this podcast.
Yeah.
Saved that mistake. Thank you very, very much for listening. If you have any feedback
or opinions or anything, join in the conversation.
Any of the 8 people that listened to the last one might have come onto this one as well. Do let us know. Comment, get in touch, discuss, or tell us we're shit.
Yeah.
And what we should do to get better, because that's one of the ways we're going to improve.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And see you next week.
Smell you later.
Yeah. In a bit.
Bye.